Good evening. My Black History Month series continues with Garrett Augustus Morgan Sr. He was born March 4th, 1877, was departed from this earth July 27th, 1963, was an American inventor, businessman, community leader. His most notable inventions were the smoke hood, predecessor to the gas mask, notably used in the 1916 tunnel construction disaster rescue. Morgan also discovered and developed a chemical hair processing and straightening solution. He created a successful company based on his hair product inventions, along with a complete line of hair care products, and became involved in the civic and political advancement of African Americans, especially in or around Cleveland, Ohio. Early life and education. Morgan was born in 1877 in Claysville, Bourbon County, Kentucky, an almost exclusively African American community outside Paris, Kentucky. His father was Sidney Morgan, a son and freed slave of Confederate General John H. Morgan of Morgan's Raiders. His mother, also a freed slave, was Elizabeth Reed, daughter of Reverend Garrett Reed. She was part Native American. He had at least one sibling, a brother named Frank, who helped in the 1916 Lake Erie Tunnel rescue. Morgan only received a sixth grade education at Branch Elementary School in Claysville, then moved in search of work at the age of 14 to Cincinnati, Ohio. Career. He spent most of his teenage years working as a handyman for a Cincinnati landowner. Like many African American children growing up at the turn of the century, Morgan had to quit school at a young age to work full time. Morgan was able to hire a tutor and continue his studies while working in Cincinnati. In 1895, he moved to Cleveland, where he began repairing sewing machines for a clothing manufacturer. This experience sparked Morgan's interest in how things worked, and he built a reputation for fixing them. His first invention made during this period was a belt fastener for sewing machines. Morgan also invented a zigzag attachment for sewing machines. In 1907, Morgan opened a sewing machine shop. 1 year later, more conscious of his heritage, he helped start the Cleveland Association of Colored Men in 1908. 1 year later, he and his wife, Marianne, opened Morgan's Cut Rate Ladies Clothing Store. The shop, which made coats, suits, dresses, and other clothing, ultimately had 32 employees. In 1910, his interest in repairing other people's inventions waned, and he became interested in developing some of his own. He received his first patent in 1912. In 1913, he incorporated hair care products into his growing list of patents and launched the G.A. Morgan Hair Refining Company, which sold hair care products, including his patent hair straightening cream, a hair coloring, a hair straightening comb invented by Morgan. He received a patent for a smoke hood design in 1914, the year he launched the National Safety Device Company. It is unknown whether the smoke hood brought him any commercial success. In 1916, Morgan rescued workers trapped in a water intake tunnel 50 foot beneath Lake Erie under a hood fashioned to protect his using the hood fashioned to protect his eyes from smoke and featuring a series of air tubes that hung near the ground to draw clean air beneath the rising smoke. Later in life, he developed glaucoma, and by 1943, he was functionally blind. He had poor health the rest of his life, but continued to work on his inventions. One of his last was a self extinguishing cigarette, which used a small plastic pellet filled with water placed just before the filter. He died on July 27, 1963, at the age of 86, and was buried at the Lakeview Cemetery in Cleveland. Products and inventions. Hair care products. Morgan conducted experiments with a liquid that gave sewing machine needles a high polish that prevented the needle from burning fabric as it sewed. In 1905, Morgan accidentally discovered that the liquid could also straighten hair. He made the liquid into a cream and launched the G.A. Morgan Hair Refining Company to market it. He also made a black hair oil dye and invented a curved tooth comb for hair straightening in 1910. Smoke hood he invented. Among other things. Community community leadership. In 1908, he co-founded the Cleveland Association of Colored Men, which later merged into the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP. Morgan served as its treasurer. He was a member of the NAACP and donated money to historically Black colleges and universities. Morgan, in 1920, founded the Cleveland Call, a weekly newspaper, and in 1938 subsequently participated in its merger that created the Cleveland Call and Post newspaper. Morgan purchased a farm near Wakeman, Ohio, and upon that land built the Wakeman Country Club, open to Blacks, unlike most country clubs then. Morgan was a member of the Prince Hall Freemasons in Excelsior Lodge number 11 of Cleveland, Ohio. He belonged to the Antioch Baptist Church. In 1931, seeing that the people was neither properly addressing the needs of its African American citizens, he ran for a seat on the Cleveland City Council as an independent, but was not elected. Personal life. He married Madge Nelson in 1896, only to divorce in 1898. In 1908, he and Mary Haysack were married. Together they had three children, John P. Garrett A. Jr. and Cosmo H. Morgan, died in Cleveland in 1963, where he was interred in Lakeview Cemetery. Oh, John, Garrett, and Cosmo were his three sons. Okay, yeah, I thought it kind of ran together. John, Garrett, and Cosmo were his three sons. Awards and recognitions. At the Emancipation Centennial Celebration in Chicago, Illinois, in August of 1963, 1 month after his death, Morgan was nationally recognized. In the Cleveland, Ohio area, the Garrett A. Morgan Cleveland School of Science and the Garrett A. Morgan Water Treatment Plant have been named in his honor. An elementary school in Chicago was also named after him. An elementary school bearing his name opened in the fall of 2016 in Lexington, Kentucky. In Prince George County, Maryland, there is a street named Garrett A. Morgan Boulevard, formerly Summerfield Boulevard until 2002. And the adjacent metro stop, Morgan Boulevard, also bears his name. Morgan was included in the 2002 book of 100 Great African Americans by Molefi K.T. Asante. Morgan is an honorary member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity.